Hey guys, what's happening? Johnny Glock here. It is Friday. It's not going to be a functional Friday though, just because I've been dealing with the craziness of the business. I've had employees out, I've had manufacturers down, I've had shipping issues, blah blah blah. You guys don't want to hear any of that though. You just want your fix of of your Glock enthusiast fix. But yeah, first of all, let me explain something to you. Glock right now is no longer selling parts. And it doesn't matter if you're military and law enforcement or if you're the biggest, like the Glock store, and no one across the boards. All the parts have been allocated to the pistols. That they're, I don't know, last I heard it was like 1.2 million pistols behind. So I get it. They have to, put all their parts into their pistols, and they have halted sales because of this. This is why you really can't find any Glock parts. And with this, it's put a lot of strain on me because it's almost like I have to be a broker and, wheeling and dealing and trying to talk to manufacturers and what can happen and how I can keep everything OEM and things of that nature. So it's been quite a trying time. And with the unfortunate events of the mass shootings that have been going on and the president's verbiage and stuff like that, everyone once again has gone crazy and thinks that the Second Amendment, well, doesn't think the Second Amendment rights are always under fire, especially by this current administration. But if you understand government procedure, I really think it's nothing. They're not going to do anything. Especially, they're just not going to do anything. They'll try and they'll have some investigations or something like that. But I believe at the end of the day, the Constitution prevails. So I don't like to get political, but that's my 2 cents worth on that. So what I thought today would be, I don't know, you guys might dig it, you might not care. You're probably hearing me hit this. I do that a lot, I've been told. I figured it might be cool if I just kind of walked you through the shop and gave you a little bit of a background. I thought it might be of interest. If it's not, next Friday we'll be back up to functional Friday, so you'll be good to go. You can just swipe this one. But I've been here in this particular shop. It's called Quick Draw Defense in Venice for probably about the last 8 years. I started here with a little 49cc scooter, for those of you that know it, and this little rolling cart. I feel like this little rolling cart right here, that's really all I had. And it's been quite a journey. Not up until 2018, March of 2018 is when my website actually went up. You really couldn't buy anything from me unless you actually called me and chatted with me. And that really worked to my advantage as far as getting an understanding of what shooters wanted and talking to them firsthand. Lots of interactions with competitors, lots of interactions with LEO, with Special Forces guys, and I was building these triggers one off to their particular specifications. And then, after a while there, and I looked at all the data, I said, there's really two things here. It's competition and combat, defensive and target range, and the reason is because, and I don't know if I've ever said this, but every time a competition gun is drawn, you're pulling the trigger. Okay, you are going to definitely pull the trigger on a competition gun because that's what you do. And so it can be built a certain way. It can be built with a little bit more laxed characteristics than a defensive carry gun, because you don't know that you're going to pull that trigger every time you pull that weapon. You could get in the guard and for all intentions, get on your trigger and think you're going to do it, but at the end of the day, you need to get off it. So there has to be this unbelievable predictability to the trigger, so that you can, in those split-second instances, like we just saw today, the 13-year-old that got shot and killed in Chicago. I mean, he had the gun back here. As he was dropping the gun, he came up like this, and that officer had to make a split decision. From all legal things that I've heard on it, they're calling it a good shoot. But I mean, what a tragedy! What a tragedy. So, I'm not gonna say anything about it, but the point is, you need unbelievable predictability when it comes to a carry weapon, and that's really the difference in between those two models, and that's why I offer just those two models, because it's what makes sense. Now that announcement that I told you I'm going to have, it looks like I'm actually going to be able to talk about it next week, because I am adding another trigger to the lineup. I don't really like to announce these things prematurely, but that's what it's going to be. I won't go into too much, but it's going to be a whole new trigger group. It's called the, and you might have seen me messing around with this about a year ago on Instagram. I had some posts, but we're now calling it the Legacy series, and this is going to be, the trigger's going to be called the Universal Hybrid. And it took a year to come. Everything's pretty much done for it. I'm just getting some shoes cut for it and everything, but it took basically a year of testing and really doing my due diligence to make me feel confident in actually releasing this thing. So there'll be more to come about that, but it's definitely I think you guys will dig it. It's different. It's really, really different. Let's put it that way. It's different than anything I've ever done. So yeah, sorry to tease you about it, but that's going to be next week. I'll be able to really, really launch that, and I'll have a video that just breaks it all down, kind of like what I did with my Evolution X triggers and stuff like that. The Evolution X, of course, Combat is always going to be available, because it's just tried, tested, trued. So many people are carrying it for defense, and I don't really think you can get a better trigger for carry. So that's just gonna be there. It's gonna be a staple. The competition trigger, I'm considering maybe phasing out. I don't know, but we'll that'll be seen. We'll see what happens there. So, seeing I have to pick my children up at school in about 10 minutes, I better start walking you through the shop to show you guys this stuff. I'm just gonna this camera around, and so basically, first things first, when orders come in from Glock, they all get placed in these bins right here. I know I have some shiny ones right there, but that's the only place I could get them. So, I break it all down by trigger housings, generation. This is kind of my madness back here, so I absolutely know no one else needs to know anything about this other than me. The first phase of them, as I'm getting ready to work them, they go in this area. It's Friday, so there's not a ton of stuff here. This is kind of what's happening on Monday. I try to keep, since we only have about 500 square feet right here, I try to keep everything very tight. Very efficient would be the word. So here's some of the machines that I use to do what I need to do. I won't be going into that kind of stuff until I do my my trigger video series. It's going to be a design and build video series that it's going to be for purchase on the website. All the small Glock parts go here. So you have your strikers, you have connectors. Once again, like I said, a lot of this stuff has already been worked. So once I do, and this right here is like kind of the this one's dedicated for trigger shoes. This one's dedicated for trigger housings. And still to this day, every single one of these I am hand drilling. That's just what I do. You know what I mean? It's kind of zen. I can spend all day. You get a I don't know, there's probably 200 housings in there, and I just go boom, 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 and then I use the small drills to use the taps in there, and then I sit there with all these that the guys have worked for me, like I said, at the how we put the polish on the ends of them here, so there's no hang-ups when the trigger resets. These are reset screws right here, but it's that's kind of the process. So it's still all done by hand. Dremels, that's all you need. This is basically all the tools I use. It's a very, very simple, efficient system. I'm going to back that up a little bit there. Okay, that's a lot better. Of course, there has to be, tons of lights, just because I use these big LEDs. Sorry if I'm blinding you, lights, because I need tons and tons and tons of lights so I can see what I'm doing here. These are all the finished parts. So you can see they have the Gen 3 par, Gen 3 housing. This is where I grab from as I'm building once it gets to this point. Well, these are all completely finished parts. Dot connectors, 43s, 5, like you see, some of them are marked. Once again, this is me. I'm the only one that has to know the madness that's going on here. So these are all, These are all the flat face stuff right there. These are all the bars that are done already for flat face shoes. These are springs. And then we come over to here where kind of the employer interactions start. This is all the stuff that the kits are filled with. Luckily I do all my, and there's that beautiful picture right there. Luckily I do my own print. I have a, you know, desktop publisher, so on the fly I can just print from down there. Like, see, I just printed that up. It just makes things so much easier. So all the packaging is here. All these are here that you know, that the guys that work for me put together. They assemble all these while I'm doing a lot of the other work, but this is basically that area. And then right here we have this is like, you know, where I do all the computer work, because it is a computer. Shipping label and all that kind of stuff. So the shipping gets done, and you know, as we're printing these out in the morning, I don't want to get too close because there's addresses and stuff on there. They get set into this area in those trays right there, and then they get sent over into these areas where all the boxes are. Up there, we just got a ton of boxes in, boxes down there, and you know, whoever seems to be shipping that day will sit right here with muffins and my son's airsoft gun that I had to take that. I tell you what, man, try getting one of these off. These things are a pain. That's my excursion out there. See, this is Venice for you, baby. Tamiami Trail. Any of you that know anything about Florida? Got the nice little splash. Nice little splash bathing suit shop right over there. Anyway, we'll spin back around here. Okay, so this is my one employee, Jake. He's been with me the longest. This is his station. So basically, like I said, after I do what I need to do to the bars, and this is Friday, so we've knocked a lot of stuff out, you know, by Monday afternoon, these will all be filled, and he'll start going and doing what he does on these polishing wheels. I mean, they all have their wick, Brandon, my other employee, Brandon, or we call him Wick. You know, they all have different processes that they use, and maybe one day I'll have them explain those to you. You know, a lot of springs up here. This is kind of like where, as I'm building stuff, it gets sent here, because this is kind of the bench where all the finalizations are going, where it's all packed together before it actually goes out the door. So this is Brandon's station here. Brandon's kind of like the do everything guy. I can always hand him off something and just say, do this. And, you know, he's pretty creative about it. And so he could do what he needs to be done. He's worked with knives his whole life. So this is all his equipment. So he basically brought it in so he could create this little circular thing where he can just, the efficiency is the main thing, because you see what a small area we're working in right here. This is the bench, like I said, where all the finishing gets done. You know, a lot of the lights are out in here right now, but you know, that's basically after I build all the parts and they're really ready to be touched up and finalized and put in their bags. It's one last polish and go over, so when you take them out, they just look totally pristine. This is where we actually keep the triggers that I have already built. You know, I tell everyone I build these all by myself, which is the absolute damn truth. You know, they are tested. Every single one of them are tested. And this is where they sit until the morning when the shipments go out and they need to be fulfilled. So, you know, you can see we're pretty well stocked up right now. You know, I built some more Gen 4s today, but we like to keep these usually filled with about 40 triggers in them each, you know, in the beginning of the week, and then that usually gets exhausted and we have to put more in there. Since this is the new trigger right here, this is going to take up another row, this universal hybrid, but it's pretty special, so it's not going to have to take up as many, because like you have Gen 3, Gen 4, Gen 5. These are all the flat faces over here. This is all the packaging for them. There's your G44. These are all the slim lines right there. But, you know, this is basically, like I said, this is like 400 square feet. It's really not a lot of space that we can pump this whole thing out. My crew is unbelievable. I just hired someone new. Her name is Chelsea Craft. What a great name. She's killing it. She is absolutely killing it. Even like her, like the back of her name says, she has a, here we go, a background in crafting, which, man, this is very close to crafting. As long as you know, are snap this back in here. What time is it? Well, it's 3 o'clock. I just saw that. I mean, I can talk the ears off of corn. I'm just like my dad. But, you know, I thought I thought it'd be cool to give you guys a little insight on, how this whole thing works, and kind of walk you through the shop. And, because I know people say, oh, I build everything by hand, or, there's a lot of half truths I think that go on in this industry, especially. And I never opted, to get the big, huge warehouse. This is like a family here, which is really cool. And once you've been, set your roots in a place, and the people are right, and the overhead is right, and all that stuff, you're kind of reluctant to, to give that up. I mean, one day who knows? I don't even want to say anything about that, but it's worked out here absolutely perfect. Since day one, everyone has respect for each other. We do have a gun shop, so I have an FFL, but usually I'm doing a lot of, agency. I'm not taking guns in too much anymore, just because of the departmental and agency work that I'm doing. It has to take priority, because it does. So yeah, man, that's all I got today, guys. I hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I'd like to hear your comments about it. I could do some more stuff like this if you did like it. I don't know what would be next. Maybe I'll take you for a ride down to the beach and go skimboarding. Who knows? But anyway, hope you guys have a great weekend. You guys like and share, do all that kind of great stuff. Subscribe if you want. Like I said, next week, a big announcement, and it's on schedule. The announcement is on schedule, because I didn't say anything about it for a while, because like time left getting pushed back. But like I said, we're ready to go. So next Functional Friday, like I said, it probably won't be a Functional Friday, but it's going to be a Friday to be remembered. All right, guys, Johnny Glock. Remember, trigger control is control.